The restaurant was buzzing that night. Crystal glasses clinking, jazz humming softly through the air, and the smell of seared steak and rosemary butter filling every corner. It was one of those fancy downtown places where the napkins were folded like origami and the waiters spoke like they'd trained for Broadway. But behind all that glitter, there was Maya, a young black waitress with a soft smile and tired eyes. She moved with quiet grace, her hair tied neatly, her shoes worn from double shifts. She didn't belong in this world of billionaires and polished marble floors, at least not according to anyone there. She had dreams bigger than tips and trays. She was studying languages at night, Mandarin, French, even Arabic, but no one knew that. To the rich guests, she was invisible, just another face serving food. That night, a group of CEOs had reserved the private dining area. Men in suits, expensive watches glinting under the chandelier. Among them sat Richard Langford, a powerful name in tech. A man who made fortunes off algorithms and arrogance. He was known for his sharp tongue and sharper bets. "Bring us another bottle of wine," he said without looking up, waving his hand as Maya passed by. "Yes, sir," she replied politely. His friend, chuckling, said, "You know, Richard, you should probably learn some Mandarin before your Beijing deal. Those investors won't be impressed with your hand gestures." Richard smirked. "I don't need to speak Mandarin. Money's a universal language." The table erupted in laughter. Maya came back with the wine, placing it gently on the table. Richard's eyes flicked to her name tag. "Maya, right?" "Yes, sir." He leaned back in his chair, eyes narrowing with mischief. "Tell me something, Maya. You ever been to China?" She shook her head. "No, sir." "Thought so." He grinned. "You see, my friend here's been saying everyone should learn Mandarin these days. I bet you can't say a single word of it." The others laughed. Maya froze, unsure how to respond. I actually can, sir." The laughter stopped. "You can what?" Richard said, leaning forward. "I can speak Mandarin," Maya said softly, her hands trembling slightly as she held the tray. Richard raised an eyebrow. "You? A waitress? Speak Mandarin?" "Yes, sir." He chuckled, pulling out his wallet. "All right, then. How about a little bet?" His friends exchanged amused looks. "Here he goes again." Richard held up a thick stack of bills. $500,000 says you can't hold a conversation in Mandarin with me. And before you say yes, I studied Mandarin for a year, so don't try faking it." Gasps circled the table. The manager at the corner went pale. "Sir, please," but Maya looked him dead in the eyes. "You have a deal." The room went silent. Even the music seemed to pause. Richard leaned back, folding his arms. "All right then, waitress. Impress us." For a second, Maya's heart pounded in her chest. She'd learned Mandarin not in classrooms but through free online videos, language exchange apps, and old library books. Late nights after shifts, whispering tones under her breath. She'd dreamed of one day working as a translator for the UN. Now, her chance stood right here, wrapped in arrogance and money. She took a deep breath and began, her voice clear and melodic. 晚上好，先生们，你们今天过得怎么样? Good evening, gentlemen. How was your day today? The men froze. Richard blinked, caught off guard. Not bad, he replied awkwardly in Mandarin, his pronunciation stiff. 你会说中文? You speak Chinese. 当然会啊, she smiled. 我从大学开始学习中文，您说的不错，但声调还需要练习. Of course I do. I started learning in college. You speak decently, but your tones need some work. The table erupted. But not in laughter this time. In stunned silence, one of the CEOs whispered, "She just corrected him." Richard's face flushed. "Where did you learn that?" "Online," Maya said, still in Mandarin. 我没有钱去上课，但是我每天学习，因为语言让我感到自由。I couldn't afford classes, but I studied every day because languages make me feel free. There was no mockery left in the room. Only awe. "Say something else," another executive urged. She switched to flawless French. "Vous voulez que je parle en français aussi?" "Would you like me to speak French too?" Then Spanish. Then Japanese. The men stared as if she just walked out of a movie scene. Even the chef peeked out from the kitchen door, wiping his hands on his apron. The waiters lined up by the wall, watching Maya with tears forming in their eyes. Richard stood slowly, his arrogance cracking. You speak all those languages?" "I study every night," Maya said softly. "Because someday I want to travel the world. Not as someone serving the table, but as someone sitting at it." A silence hung heavy over the room. Then one of the CEOs clapped. Then another. The sound grew until the entire restaurant joined in. Guests turning to look, servers smiling through tears. But Richard just stood there, speechless. His bet, his arrogance, had turned into something else entirely. He reached for his wallet again, pulling out a checkbook. "You won, fair and square," he said quietly, writing the number down. 500,000. "It's yours." Maya shook her head. "No, sir. I don't want your money." The room fell silent again. She smiled softly. "I just wanted you to know. Sometimes the people you underestimate are the ones who've already beaten the odds 1,000 times before they ever met you." For a long moment, Richard just stared at her. Then something in him broke. The arrogance faded. The mask slipped. "Then let me offer you something better," he said, voice low. "I run Langford Global. We're opening offices in Beijing and Paris next quarter. I want you on our team. Translator, full benefits. Full pay." Maya froze. "You're serious?" He nodded. "You've got the kind of talent I can't buy, and the kind of heart I can't teach." Tears welled in her eyes. "Thank you, sir. I don't know what to say." "Say yes." He smiled faintly. "In every language you know." She laughed through her tears. "Yes, oui, shoulda, si." The room broke into applause again. The other CEOs smiled, some even standing to shake her hand. The manager hugged her quietly in the corner. That night, when Maya walked home through the city lights, she didn't feel like a waitress anymore. The cold air brushed her cheeks as she looked up at the skyline. And for the first time, she felt the future waiting for her, not as a dream, but as a promise. In her small apartment, she placed her tray by the door and whispered to herself in Mandarin, "Bie fang qi. 你的努力会被看见. Don't give up. Your effort will be seen." Months later, Maya stood in Beijing. In a sharp blazer, badge shining on her chest, interpreting live during an international meeting. Cameras flashed, investors listened, and in the crowd sat Richard Langford, watching her with pride. After the session, he approached her. "You've come a long way," Maya smiled. "Thank you for believing in me." He shook his head. "No, Maya. Thank you for teaching me something I forgot. That respect is worth more than money, and brilliance doesn't come with a business card." As they stepped outside into the bright Beijing afternoon, Maya looked at the bustling street filled with people speaking 100 languages, and she felt at peace. Because for the first time in her life, she wasn't serving tables, she was serving purpose. Morale: never judge someone by their uniform, accent, or paycheck. Genius doesn't ask for permission to shine. It just waits for the right moment to be heard. And when it does, it reminds the world that dreams belong to everyone, not just the rich.